This is a go home video for Chase. This is just a typical training session where we work through different things that pop up as we're working. I go in and edit the video to include some arrows and some descriptions and a couple of little subtitles where I put the commands in when I use them and what I'm using. And then I do the voiceover to explain how I'm fixing what I see pop up as it pops up. This is just a video of mostly fetching, so I'm trying to get Chase to bring the cattle to me and just maintain a line, and I'll just describe as we go along what you're seeing and how you would go about fixing it. So to start off, I'm putting him right along the fence line. I'm going to send him come by, so I want him to go the direction of the curved arrow. I step into his shoulder, which would be his right shoulder, and then I'm going to relieve the pressure by walking away from him and then maintaining a parallel path to him. So if at any time he turns in, I can step towards his shoulder and push him back out. He doesn't, so right there, walk. So once he's got the cattle turned towards me, I tell him there, walk. And then it's his responsibility to maintain that path. The cattle are headed straight to me. If they veer off and he doesn't correct it, I will tell him to correct it with another command. So that was the away you saw there in the subtitles. There, stop, once he's got the cattle at me. So I'm going to send him on a come by. So I'm going to step out to my left. And if he turns the opposite way, which is the problem I've been having, I'm going to say, hey. And then when he stops to pay attention to me, then I can redirect him. So I'm going to apply pressure to him. I start with verbal pressure first, and then I'm going to do physical pressure by walking at him. Not really walking at him, I'm walking along his path. So as soon as hey, basically, until I get him stopped, then I try to get into a position to fix it and send him the correct direction. And then I'm going to relieve the pressure off of him by walking away from the livestock and giving him an opportunity to bring them to me. So if I was to go towards the cattle, I'm taking his job away. So I want him to go on that come by, so there's that curved arrow again. And I kind of pat my leg and tell him, get up, or get around, to speed him up, try to keep him going along that path. So I'm not walking at him, I'm just going to walk basically kind of towards his butt to pressure him forward towards the cattle. So once he's going, he kind of pops in a little bit there, so I walk at his shoulder, tell him come by, he's going the right direction, and once he comes around this barn, it gets a little tight, so I figure he's going to pop in, and he does. So you can see the red line is where he's headed, and that's incorrect because there's a chance that he would split those cattle off. If there was no fence there, he would completely be taking the cattle away from me. So I walk towards his path, and I go say, hey, what are you doing? And then when he pays attention to me, I can redirect him. So he's got to continue to go come by because these cattle are not looking at me yet. So see, if he continues to pop around that away side, he's taking the cattle away from me. So I tell him come by. Once he's on the line, the cattle are headed towards me. It's their walk. And then once I told him their walk, he understands where the line is. The cattle should be coming to me. I can then just walk. I don't have to give him any further commands unless he messes up. So he's going to come around on that away side right there, and that's taking the cattle away from me. That's the blue arrow. So I step out and I send him come by, there, stop, once the cattle are headed towards me. And so your there command sets the line, and then what you say after it determines what you want the dog to do. So I can say there, walk if I want him to continue to walk, or I can say there, stop if I need him to stop. And again, I'm going to send him on the come by because he is struggling with that side. Always want to work the hard side many more times than you work the easy side. So same thing, I'm just going to step out, I'm going to walk parallel to him, apply pressure to his shoulder if he goes the incorrect way, which he does quite often. So see, he turns away and then he wants to turn come by. Doesn't seem like it would be a big deal when you're talking about working him at home. You're not talking about trialing, but at the same time he's relieving pressure on the cattle, and it will make a big difference if you are in a smaller area or if your cattle are flighty or if they're looking to challenge him. So that's why I do not want him turning his back to cattle ever. I want him exactly like that, to just turn off of them and go in the direction I'm asking. It's called turning tail when they turn the wrong way, and it relieves too much pressure on the cattle if your cattle are starting to challenge him. So he comes up too far on the away side there, so I'm just going to step into his shoulder, push him back on the come by side. And if he just doesn't go far enough, we just make a bigger circle. So I'm just going to circle him around, circle him around, circle him around on the come by side until we're successful. Because what he'll do is he'll pull up a little bit early. So right there, you see he pulled up early. I just step into him, tell him come by. If I can fix it from way back there, great. We don't have to make a full circle around. But if I can't fix it from where I am and I have to step too far into him, that changes the plans. So your plans are great until the dog messes up, is not listening, and then you have to go in and fix them. And then you just have to pick up from where you are when you fix the issue. So if he just turns in too early or he tries to get in on the heels, I step into him and try to fix that. A lot of this will make more sense when you're doing it yourself. I send him away this time, let him go. There, set the line. So he's bringing him to me, and then that means if I change direction, I should not have to give him any more commands. He should balance off, which basically means he's the mirror image of me and the cattle are in the middle. So if I move, he should move in the opposite direction and just balance those cattle to me. And then the only time I need to pop in with a command is if he is making a mistake or what I'm asking him to do is not obvious to him, and so I have to command it instead of just expecting him to balance. So again, we're just mirror imaging here. So he's holding him to me. If I step to my left, he goes basically to his left. If I step to my right, he should go to his right as well. And now we're going to drive him down the fence line. So I tell him there, walk, once the cattle are walking with me. So the goal here would be to keep them walking in that straight line. He may have to be off to the side like he is now. If they stall out, he may have to go towards the heels, but you see if he goes too far towards the heels, those heads peel off the fence and then they're no longer looking at me. So I have to send him away right there. When he's got the heads looking at me again, I can start walking, and he just needs to maintain that path. So he might have to go come by, which is right there, to get those cattle moving again. And then he just needs to maintain their path. And again, if he goes in too far towards the heels, you can see the heads start to look away from the fence, look for an escape route. So then I have to ask him to do what needs to be done to fix it. So right here, I'm going to tell him away. So if he doesn't fix it on his own, I'm going to ask him, and then I need to be ready to step in and physically make that happen. So I'm going to go ahead and send him all the way away to get them blocked up and stopped, because I don't want them to escape to the fence where they want to go. And then here, I'm just going to show you a little bit of pressure and release. So I tell him there, stop, and I tell him good boy, and he gets up. So I put a little pressure on him, stop, stop. And then I'm going to replay this clip a little bit where I'm not going to talk over it, and then I just call him to me.